Who could ever forget Stacy Keep? She was the young mum who lost so much in the Queensland floods. Her 18-month-old daughter, Jessie, was ripped from her arms by the wall of water that swept through town. Her mother and her mother-in-law also died. When I met Stacy then, I wished desperately there was some way to ease her pain. Well, 6 weeks ago, the Keep family welcomed a little baby girl into their lives. She's helping them heal, but it's hard to move forward when there are still so many questions about the events of the past. And when you hear about the bureaucratic bungling that allowed this tragedy to happen, you'll understand why the people of Grantham are so very angry.
This is little Sienna, our miracle baby.
The bond between this mother and daughter is, and always will be, extraordinary.
I can't stop cuddling her.
I bet you can't.
Yeah, she's beautiful.
She's a little survivor as well, isn't she?
Yeah, we are lucky that she survived it too.
When Stacy was pregnant with Sienna, both lived through the terrifying flash flood that devastated the town of Grantham earlier this year.
It's good for you, isn't it, Stacy?
It is. It's given us something to focus on.
6-week-old Sienna is a miracle to cling to amid a mother's heartache for the child she lost on that terrible day, little Jessie. And worse, Stacy and her husband Matt are now faced with mounting evidence that the tragedy could have been avoided.
We just needed, even 5 minutes. We could have gathered up the kids and that and ran over the railway line and ran up the hill. It's the lives we lost now that's upsetting us. It didn't have to happen.
You're not only mayor, but you're also chairman of the local disaster management group, aren't you?
That's right.
On the day, did you have an evacuation plan in place for Grantham?
No, specifically we didn't. And
why not?
The plans were still under development as part of the updating of our plan.
Did anyone get on the phone and ring down the line and warn anyone of what was coming?
No, not at all. The water was the first thing that warned us. The water.
Oh, my goodness me. I first met the Keeps back in January, when their lives changed forever after the wall of water smashed into their home. Both their mothers, who were there at the time, drowned. Their 2 older children, Maddie and Jacob, somehow survived inside the house. Matt was swept outside, and so too was Stacy, then heavily pregnant and clinging to 18-month-old Jessie.
More Jessie. There's more Jessie.
I had my baby girl in my arms. And then she was taken from me. And I thought it was only me that was left. I thought everybody was gone.
There's a smile.
No.
It was a little curled up.
But finally, the Keeps have something to smile about.
The birth of Sienna has helped. She's a great baby. Really happy and content. It's still hard though sometimes. There's people missing and they're not here to share the moment with us.
For all you'd been through, for goodness sake. And out comes this healthy, happy baby.
Yeah, another big baby.
Yeah?
Yeah. Looking down at her sometimes, yeah, she reminds us of Jessie.
You can see that in her face, in her personality.
Yeah.
Yeah, we sort of seen it as a blessing too in a way because she is very much like a sister. It's nice to see that there is still a reminder of her, and yeah, we just pray like anything that we do get to see this one grow up.
There's new life everywhere you look in Grantham. But amid the town's rebirth, you also sense a growing anger. Many of Grantham's residents are struggling with seesawing emotions. It's very hard to pick up the pieces when they're starting to learn the truth of what happened on the day of the disaster. What's becoming clear is that the people of this town were not only caught in an unprecedented natural catastrophe, but they're also victims of a perfect bureaucratic storm. Damning evidence presented to the Queensland Floods Inquiry reveals a disaster management plan in chaos. A total communication breakdown with the Weather Bureau, and a warning system that simply failed the very people it was designed to protect. So on a day when you could have helped save lives, you had to sit on your hands?
Basically, yes.
How does that make you feel?
I was very, very frustrated that couldn't do more.
Private meteorologist Anthony Cornelius from Weatherwatch was monitoring readings from this flood gauge at Helidon, 8 kilometres upstream from Grantham. Not legally allowed to issue official warnings himself, he raised the alarm online with other weather watchers. Anthony was stunned at the Bureau of Meteorology's failure to react as tragedy loomed.
I was absolutely amazed. I've never actually seen a flood gauge rise that quickly before. It was just incredible.
What did you think?
Certainly when I saw that, I had pretty much had shivers going down my spine, wondering what was actually going to be happening through there.
This is one way of trying to understand what that wall of water was like. This is the gauge that measured the rapidly rising flood. At one stage, it records a reading of 8 metres, then it fails. The gauge literally floods. But the water keeps on rising to about here, 13 metres. But nobody downstream in Grantham was warned. What should that have told residents further downstream?
It should have told them there was some sort of danger coming down through there.
Were they told that?
Unfortunately, they weren't told.
They weren't told because, unlike Anthony, no one at the Bureau of Meteorology was monitoring the automated gauge, and the flood level being recorded was so high, so unprecedented, the computer simply didn't accept it.
The Bureau of Meteorology computer system actually marked that reading as erroneous, so it got wiped off the forecaster's record.
It thought it was wrong.
So it thought it was wrong, which is a huge shame.
But the people of Grantham were also failed by their own, the local disaster management group. Despite being dead centre of the state's flood crisis, neither Mayor Steve Jones nor his staff made any attempts to check what was headed their way. On the day, did you call the Bureau of Meteorology?
Look, I was out in the field. I was stuck at Whitcott, so I communicated with our office, with our controller, some 20...
Did anyone on council ring the Bureau?
Well, you'd have to ask the controller, I'm not sure, because I haven't actually got the log with me.
In your log, there is no record of anyone calling the Bureau of Meteorology on the day.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure what...
The first warning comes through from the Bureau at 4:15, then at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, long after it's hit Grantham. That's the council log.
Yep.
No one's called the Bureau of Meteorology on the day.
Right, well, I wasn't aware. I wasn't in the office at that time, of course, but as I said, in my understanding, the first call that came through from the Bureau was around 4 o'clock or something to that effect.
That's long after people have been swept out of their homes.
That's right.
All disaster management groups must legally have an up-to-date emergency plan and are required to hold meetings every 6 months. Mayor Jones and the Lockyer Valley Regional Council did neither. 4 months before the disaster struck, your local disaster management plan had a meeting. In the minutes of this, it says that there had not been a disaster management plan meeting for 12 months prior to that.
That's right, that's right.
How would you describe the level of incompetence?
Well, they virtually make a joke of disaster management, that they identify that they've done nothing on it, but will, pick up the bat later on.
Look,
Look, I mean, it was effectively just a very, very large thunderstorm.
The first report of the Queensland flood inquiry won't be published until August. But in its submissions, the Bureau of Meteorology concedes it did miss warning signs. It was 4:15, half an hour after the flood had swept through Grantham and images of the devastation were already being telecast, that a belated flash flood warning was issued. They had to watch the TV footage.
They didn't know of the floods until they saw the footage on the TV.
They just missed that altogether.
So it wasn't actually recognised until 5 p.m. in the afternoon when that exceptional warning, which ideally should have been issued earlier, was finally issued.
It's just, it's too high a price to pay for people's incompetence. And that's what it is, they're incompetent. And they didn't do their job.
You know, it's hard to believe we didn't get warned.
Lisa Spearling is a neighbour of the Keeps. For her and many here in Grantham, after the floods, it's another blow to a fragile community. Lisa and husband Steve lost all their possessions that day.
So this is what's
left. Yep.
And she just wants someone to accept responsibility for what she and her family endured.
I'm not asking for anyone, the authorities, to come along and build a huge wall to stop that water from coming. But I'm just asking for them to have come and just warned us so we could get our people out to safety.
Those official warnings never came. And those who did see the looming danger could do nothing, bound to silence by the same frustrating bureaucracy.
Private meteorological providers actually have to sign an honour with the Bureau. So it's actually, we can't do anything, and it's by Commonwealth law that we cannot issue our own warnings, especially if they were to contradict the Bureau of Meteorology warnings.
Lockyer Valley Council is now clearing land for about 200 new homes. Relocating, though, is still a tough choice for some.
We have no home. We will rebuild, not in Grantham. I'll never put my children here again. But yeah, I'm only just so lucky that I don't go and visit my child in a grave. Yeah.
She's really a pretty little girl.
Yeah, she's been perfect.
But the Keeps are staying. They've staked out a new block at the highest point in Grantham.
It is a terrific spot.
It is.
They hope their new home will be built by Christmas. But for now, they're busy rebuilding the rest of their lives.
I just deal with every day the best I can for the sake of my husband and my children. Yeah, because if I didn't have them with me, I don't know how I'd be. Yeah.
Hello, I'm Adam Hegarty. Thanks for watching 60 Minutes Australia. Subscribe to our channel now for brand new stories and exclusive clips every week. And don't miss out on our extra minute segments and full episodes of 60 Minutes on 9now.com.au and the 9Now app.